Okay, hi, year 13. All right, so this is my second take because I ran out of minutes. So I'll go through this very, very quickly, okay? Number one, what to remind you of, the fact that the Nazis, when they came to power, they didn't just set up brand new Nazi schools. They didn't sack all the teachers. They didn't force all the teachers to join anything. So what does that remind you of? Well, I hope it reminded you of what they did in terms of the civil service and the government, okay, when they came to power. It wasn't as if they sacked every civil servant and replaced them with a Nazi. It was about using existing structures and, kind of, I suppose, Nazifying them. All right. Number two, what were the overall general aims of the Nazi youth and education policy? It was about making individuals realise that they were not more important than the state, that the state was more important. And eventually, of course, especially for the boys, that they're going to be expected to sacrifice their lives at some point for the state and for the Führer. At any point, if you need to just pause this video and go back to your work and ask Finn, obviously do that. Number three, what methods did the Nazis use to achieve their aims? So I'm sure there's going to be a bit of overlap with number four here. But number three, I've got the Nazi Teachers League was set up. Lessons were changed in terms of like biology. They learned the fact that Germans were like seen as the Aryan race. History lessons talked about the Treaty of Versailles, but also great German military victories. Geography talked about the fact that Germany was enclosed and had to expand into the East Lebensraum. I've also got here that there was a Hitler salute at the start of each lesson, that there was 2 hours of PE, obviously getting boys ready for military service, and there were gender differences in how boys were taught and how girls were taught, okay? Number four, as I said, there'd be a bit of overlap with some of these. So, anti-intellectualism, how did they achieve that? So if anyone wanted to go to university, they had to do a year of manual labour beforehand. It's all about making the university less appealing, isn't it? That clever students were humiliated in front of groups when they were given these Nazi speeches. Anti-Semitism, that would have been done through biology lessons. Again, Germans being superior and other races being inferior. Nationalism, that was done through giving the Hitler salute at the start of the lesson, but through history lessons. The fact that teaching great German victories, as I said, for question three. Militarism, 2 hours of PE a day, history lessons as well. Obedience and discipline. So I've got here, teachers signed, here it is, a declaration in support of Hitler and the National Socialist State, and they had to join the Nazi Lecturers Association. So that was much about teachers' discipline and obedience as it is students. Hitler worship, the Heil Hitler salute as well, okay, at the start of the lesson. This was optional, of course, but hopefully I made it clear that number 5 was not optional. So who made up the Edelweiss Pirates? Just groups of youngsters all across Germany, yeah? It wasn't necessarily a proper organisation in itself. Quite a difficult one to explain here, I suppose. Did they all go around thinking that they were Edelweiss Pirates? Maybe not, all right? But teenagers who did certain things like listen to jazz music and dress in their clothes and go around and fight with Hitler Youth, we class them all as the Edelweiss Pirates. Where were they found? Throughout Germany. What did they do? The things I just said, listen to jazz music, dress in their own style, beat up the Hitler Youth, refuse to go to Hitler Youth. Yeah. Why did they do all this? Was it ideological? For some of them it would have been. And then for others, it would have just been the fun of doing your own thing. Being told to go to the Hitler Youth was, let's be honest, most teenagers don't like being told what they have to do anyway, okay? So it was a bit of that to it. How successful? Not totally successful, not totally unsuccessful, but it wasn't really an organised thing either, was it? However, some youngsters, they were arrested and they were executed. Hans and Sophie Scholl here for the White Rose Group in Munich. What did they do? They spread leaflets and information about the Nazi atrocities. Why did they oppose the Nazis? It's because Hans Scholl, I think he went to the Eastern Front and he saw what was happening and he just grew disillusioned with the Nazis. And how successful? I'd say more successful than the Edelweiss Pirates, but not totally successful. Again, they were captured, weren't they? So for the next lesson, as you can see, only 10 seconds left. Read through the information here on Nazi workers, and then you've got a few tasks to do, okay? So best of luck with that, year 13. Sorry about the rush, but hopefully that makes sense, okay? Cheers.